Today, we're diving into one of the oldest and honestly, one of the most powerful tools humanity has ever come up with, persuasive writing. In a world that is just flooded with information and arguments, knowing how to convince people the right way, ethically, well, that's not just a skill for politicians or marketing gurus, it's an absolutely crucial tool for every single one of us.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on what persuasion really is. Then, we're going to jump in a time machine back to ancient Greece to pick up our essential toolkit. From there, we'll see how those tools literally built a nation, how they got an update for modern times, and finally, what all of this means for you right now in the digital world.
I mean, of course you have, right? We all do it every day. Whether you're just trying to convince your friends which restaurant to go to, or you're making a big pitch for a project at work, or maybe you're debating the big stuff online, we are constantly trying to persuade people. And it all starts right there, with that basic human need to be heard and understood.
So, what is this art of persuasion, really? Well, it's not just about winning an argument, not at all. Real persuasion is this incredible mix of a few key ingredients. It's a vital skill that helps us sort through all the noise and competing claims out there. You can think of it as building a bridge from your mind to someone else's.
Okay, so to build that bridge, you're going to need the right tools. And for that, we have to go to the original master architect himself, Aristotle. Seriously, more than 2,000 years ago, this guy figured out the 3 core ways to persuade someone, and they are still the absolute gold standard today.
First up, we've got logos. This is the appeal to logic, to the mind. When you use logos, you're bringing the receipts, the cold, hard facts, the data, the structured, rational arguments. It's what a scientist does when they present their research. You're basically saying, look, here's the evidence. The conclusion makes perfect sense. It shows you actually respect your audience's intelligence.
Next in the toolkit is pathos, and this one is all about the heart. This is where you make a real human connection. You know those charity ads that tell one person's story to make you feel the weight of a huge crisis? That is pure pathos. It makes big, abstract problems feel personal and urgent. It's incredibly powerful, but you gotta be careful. There's a really fine line between inspiring empathy and just straight-up manipulation.
And finally, we have ethos. This is your foundation. This is the reason anyone should listen to you in the first place. Ethos is all about trust. You build it by showing you know what you're talking about, that you're fair, and that you're a person of good character. Think about why you trust your doctor. It's their experience, their expertise, their calm confidence. That's ethos. Without it, the best arguments in the world can just completely fall apart.
Now here's the secret sauce. These 3 things, logos, pathos, and ethos, they don't work alone. Aristotle called their relationship the rhetorical triangle. The most powerful arguments don't just lean on one. Nope. They find that sweet spot, that perfect balance between logic, emotion, and credibility. It's the mind, the heart, and trust all working together.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? Well, let me tell you, this isn't just some dusty, old academic concept. These tools have literally shaped history. And there is no better example than the American Revolution, where a handful of writers used these very ideas to forge an entire nation.
Just look at the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson is putting on an absolute masterclass here. First, he logically lists out all the problems with the king. That's pure logos. Then, he uses this incredible soaring language about unalienable rights. I mean, that hits you right in the heart. That's pathos. And the whole thing is written with this calm, serious, authoritative voice that establishes moral high ground. That's ethos. It's a perfect trifecta.
And right around the same time, you had Thomas Paine doing something a little different. See, he wasn't writing for other politicians. He was writing for the guy on the street, the farmer, the blacksmith. His pamphlet, Common Sense, used simple, direct, fiery language. He made independence feel like it wasn't just a political option, but a moral and logical emergency.
And the results? Just look at this number. Over 100,000 copies sold in just a couple of months. To put that in perspective, the entire population was only about 2.5 million people. That's just wild. It's proof that when you get it right, persuasive writing doesn't just change a few minds. It can literally move an entire nation to action.
All right, let's jump forward in time. As we move into the 20th and 21st centuries, the world gets a lot more complicated. Writers had to take these ancient Greek tools and adapt them to fight a totally new kind of battle. The battle against political spin, propaganda, and language that was designed to confuse, not clarify.
Persuasion became a weapon to defend truth itself. And the giant in this fight was George Orwell. For him, using lazy, unclear, dishonest language wasn't just bad grammar. It was a political act. It was a tool of oppression. He argued that the most powerful, most ethical, and most persuasive thing you could possibly do was just be clear and honest. It all starts with respecting the truth and respecting your reader enough to tell it to them straight.
And others followed in his footsteps. Take someone like Christopher Hitchens. He took persuasion into what he called moral combat. If Orwell used a surgeon's scalpel of simple, clear language to expose a lie, Hitchens used a sledgehammer of deep knowledge, biting wit, and raw passion to demolish it. Their styles were totally different, but their goal was exactly the same. Use the power of words to wake people up and defend intellectual honesty. For both of them, persuasion was a deeply moral act.
And that brings us finally to today, to right now. Think about it. Every tweet you send, every comment you leave, every email you write, it's all a tiny act of persuasion. And in a world where a lie can circle the globe before the truth even gets its shoes on, those ancient principles we've been talking about are more critical than ever. The responsibility is on us.
So how do we actually do this well? It really boils down to a few simple but powerful ideas. Stick to real, verifiable evidence. Don't go for cheap, emotional shots. Be honest about where you're getting your information from. Citing your sources isn't just for school papers. It's an act of intellectual honesty. And maybe most important of all, try to have a conversation, not just win a fight.
Because at the end of the day, that's the real difference. Ethical persuasion isn't about beating someone into submission with your argument. It's about building a case that's so clear, so fair, and so respectful that it opens the door for a real dialogue. It's about having faith that reason and empathy and honesty still matter. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what will your words invite?